Good morning, students. We are done with module number 1 and module number 2. So, we'll go for module number 3. Okay. So, that is IP as the IoT network layer. The name only indicates we need to discuss regarding the network layer now. In previous module, we had a in-depth discussion regarding how the physical layer will be communicating with the network and how the MAC layer will be communicating to the network. Okay, what should be the internal frame format? What all the different fields are available in MAC layer data packet and the physical layer data packet. Okay, so we'll move to the bit higher version. Okay, we are done with physical layer and MAC layer. Now we need to go for network layer exactly. Okay, so now we are considering IP, the internet protocol, as a network layer. Okay, so what all aspects need to be verified or need to be concentrated so that we can have a proper and best communication between two smart objects or between the smart object and the gateway. Okay, what we need to do, we need to go for IP based communication. So we'll go through what all the different aspects we need to concentrate. Okay, if you want to establish a proper IoT network which is IP enabled. Okay, I don't say like all devices are IP enabled. Okay, few devices are non IP based architecture available. Okay, for that we need to go for a procedure called as adoption and adaptation. Okay, that we will discuss in today's session. Okay, like how we are trying to convert those non-IP supported devices to IP supportable devices exactly. Okay, I hope you got some idea regarding this module. Okay, we'll be discussing regarding network layer. Okay, what is the main component of the network layer over here? Internet protocol. Okay. In connecting smart objects, we learned about the important consideration in creating an IoT network and common protocols employed by smart objects to access and communication with a network. Chapter 4 focuses on connectivity at layer 1, that is what the physical layer, and layer 2, that is the MAC layer. In this chapter, we move up the protocol stack and extend the conversation to network layer connectivity, which is commonly referred to as layer 3. Okay, so up to now, whatever we were discussing, like how to connect the smart objects and all, okay, that was only regarding the physical layer using the concepts of physical layer and the MAC layer. Okay, now we are going to bit higher version. Okay, that will be layer 3. We are calling it as what? Network layer exactly. So this chapter is composed of the following section. So these are the things what we need to discuss under this chapter. I don't say like it under this module, under this chapter exactly. The business case for IP, the first thing. The need for optimization, why we need to go for optimization. Okay, then optimizing IP for IoT. Okay, how we can include the IP for the IoT, regarding that we will be having discussion. Profiles and compilation. Okay, so here how we need to go for the connectivity and organization standard bodies using those. Okay, how we can go for connectivity and all, regarding that we'll see that. First, we'll be discussing regarding the business cases or the business case for IP. So this section discusses the advantage of IP from an IoT perspective and introduces the concepts of adoption and adaptation. Okay, like if you are implementing the IP for IoT network, okay, then how it will be benefiting our communication. Okay, regarding that we'll be discussing under this business case for IP. Okay, in today's session we'll be discussing regarding this business case for IP. Okay, in next session we'll be going for the need for optimization. So here we need to go for two procedure. We are calling it as adoption and adaptation. Okay, so that is what how we can provide the complete IP stack for our network. Okay, we'll see that how it what is the difference between adoption and adaptation, who should be involved with adoption and who should be involved with adaptation, we'll discuss later. Then the need for optimization, why we go for optimization. So this section dives into the challenges of constrained nodes and devices when deploying IP. So here we got some devices which is working based on some constrained kind of fashion exactly. Means we are having some limitation. Okay, we are having some limitations. So how we can overcome from this limitation, we'll see that. Okay, so this section also look at the migration from IPv4 to IPv6 and how it affects IoT networks exactly. So here there are two possibilities. See, few devices are IP supported, few devices are non-IP supported. Okay, two varieties are there. Then forget about the non-IPs. Okay, because we need to go for some converter. We need to use some converter so that we can get IP enabled over there. Okay, fine. Forget about that. But when it comes for IP enabled smart objects, there are two varieties exactly. Okay, like few devices are supported with IPv4 version and few devices are supported with IPv6 exactly. Okay, so nowadays we are familiar with IPv6 exactly, but we cannot neglect the legacy kind of devices exactly, right? So what we need to do, we need to go for some procedure who is responsible for converting this IPv6 version to IPv4. Okay, the compatibility. Okay, the conversion of the compatibility we need to perform. Sorry. So that is what the need for optimization is. Then optimizing IP for IoT. So this section explores the common protocol and techniques in IoT network utilizing IP, including 6LoWPAN, 6TISC, then RPL. Okay, so how we can optimize IP for IoT. Okay, regarding that we have a discussion. Then profiles and compliance. So this section provides a summary of some of the most significant organizations and standard bodies involved with IP connectivity and IoT. Okay, so we'll discuss regarding some standard profiles and all. Okay, we won't be having any in-depth discussion over here regarding how they are going to communicate or how they are going to deploy the IP for IoT and all. Okay, we will just name them and we will have a glance about their architecture and all. Okay, so that is what. Then we'll go for the first topic, that is business case for IP. So data flowing from all two things is consumed, controlled or monitored by data center servers either in the cloud or in locations that may be distributed or centralized. Okay, so here whatever the data flowing we are having from the IoT devices or to the IoT devices, okay, see, this will be controlled or will be monitored, okay, based on distributed or centralized. Okay, distributed means what? Each and every levels of your smart object or each and every levels of your network will be having some control or monitoring system, okay, who will be monitoring the things continuously exactly. Or centralized, okay, maybe sometime application server, okay, who is responsible for controlling all the aspects, okay, whatever the data flow we are doing or what all the activities we are performing in our network, okay, that may be controlled or monitored in a distributed fashion or centralized fashion exactly. Dedicated applications are then run over virtualized or traditional operating system or on network edge platform. Okay, so these dedicated applications what we are trying to run, okay, that may be run virtually. Okay, means virtual means, you know, right, virtually or based on some operating systems, okay, we may use. Or else the last option is what? Network edge platforms. Okay, means it is towards the smart object. Okay, so these lightweight application communicate with the data center servers. Therefore the system solutions combining various physical and data link layer call for an architectural approach with a common layers, okay, independent from the low and or upper layers exactly. So they are going to communicate these lightweight application like applications whatever we are having, okay, they are going to communicate in a fashion in such a way that like they're not going to bother about what they have in the upper layer or what they have in the lower layer. Okay, so they will be working on their own principle. Okay, based on their architectural representation whatever we are having, okay, based on that they will be working. Okay, then later now if you are involving this internet protocol, okay, what are the different applications or advantages we can get? We'll see that. Okay, the first one is open and standard based. The internet of things creates a new pattern in which devices, application and user can control a large set of devices and functionalities while guaranteeing interchangeability and interoperability along with that security and management. So this calls for implementation, validation and deployment of open standard based solution exactly. Okay, so if you're this is what one of the main advantage we can call if you are using the internet protocol. Okay, open and standard based. Okay, open for all. Okay, such type, and we can achieve lot many things over here. You can observe over here. Okay, we can go for guaranteeing interchangeability, interoperability, security we can achieve, and we can manage the resources very well. Okay, so that is what the open and standard based kind of advantages. Then versatile. Okay, so we can call it as versatile. The layered IP architecture is well equipped to cope with any type of physical and data link layer. So this makes IP ideal as a long-term investment because various protocols at this layer can be used in a deployment now and over time. Okay, without requiring changes to the whole solution architecture and data flow. Okay, so few changes. Okay, wherever we are expecting. Okay, so such type of changes if we are implementing, then okay, fine, we can go with the proper architecture and data flow exactly. Then ubiquitous. Okay, so here all recent operating system releases or from general purpose computer and servers to lightweight embedded system like TinyOS and so on. Okay, the Tap OS and all whatever we are using have an integrated dual. Okay, we call it as a dual IPv4 and IPv6 IP stack that get enhanced over time. Okay, so here like whatever the operating system we are designing, right, so they are suited with IPv4 supportability and IPv6 supportability also. Okay, so that is what like advantage we can consider, like it is supportable for both IPv4 and IPv6 exactly. Then scalable as a common protocol of the internet, IP has been massively deployed and tested for robust scalability. Millions of private and public IP infrastructure nodes, okay, have been operational for years. Okay, offering strong foundation for those not familiar with IP network management. Then manageable and high secure communications infrastructure requires appropriate management and security capability for proper operations. Okay, that is also available in this. Then stable and resilient. Okay, IP has been deployed for critical services such as voice and video. Okay, which has already transitioned from closed environment to open IP standard. So this is also one of the advantage. Then consumers market adoption. Okay, the main consumer device range from smartphone to tablets and PC. The common protocol, okay, that likes IoT in the consumer space to these devices is internet protocol. Okay, so in case of uh, common devices whatever we are using in our daily life, it is also having a compatibility with IP. So that is also one of the advantage we can call it as. The uh, innovation factors. Okay, IP is the underlying protocol for application ranging from file transfer and email to the world wide web, e-commerce, social network, mobility, and more. So these were the advantages what we can achieve using the IP. Okay, like business case advantages it is. The adoption of IP provides a solid foundation for the Internet of Things by allowing secured and manageable bidirectional data communication capabilities between all devices in a network. Okay, IP is a standard-based protocol that is ubiquitous, scalable, versatile, and stable. Network services such as naming, time distribution, traffic prioritizing, isolation, and so on are well known and deployed technique that can be controlled with IP exactly. Then we'll go for the very important topic of this business cases: adoption or adaptation of the internet protocol. How to implement IP in data center, cloud server services, and operation center hosting IoT application may seem obvious, okay, but the adoption of IP in the last mile is more complicated and often makes running IP end to end more difficult exactly. So here, in case of application layer or in case of a data center towards the server or towards the cloud, and if you are trying to deploy the IP, then we don't have any issue over there. Okay, but when it comes for, just observe, when it comes for deploying a IP for end to end, means end devices whatever we are using. So if you want to deploy such like IP based communication for those, then we'll be having a issue, because few devices are IP supported and few devices are IP not supported exactly. Is it right? Okay. The use of numerous network layer protocol in addition to IP is often a point of connection, uh, point of contention between computer network experts. Okay, typically one of the two models, adoption and adaptation, is proposed exactly. We'll see that adaptation means what. Means application layer gateway must be implemented to ensure the translation between non-IP and IP layers. So here we go for some gateway over here. See, rest of things will be same. Okay, see, if any devices are not supported by IP, okay, fine. So what we need to do, we need to go for using application layered gateways over here, so that whatever we are trying to communicate with them, it should be converted in their fashion. Then what they want to communicate with the application server, again reconversion it is. Such type of conversion layer we need to implement over here. Okay, we are not going to change any kind of a devices, but adoption means what, involves replacing all non-IP layers in their IP layered counterparts. Okay, simplifying the deployment model and operations exactly. So what all non-IP layers whatever we are having, everything will be replaced exactly. Okay, so that is the difference between adaptation and adoption exactly. Adaptation means what, we are trying to implement some gateway over here and rest of the layers will be same. Okay, we will be that gateway will be acting like a converter. But here such type of, if any layers with which are not supportable, okay, is available, then it should be eliminated. We need to change them. You should consider the following factors, okay, when trying to determine which model is best suited for last mile connectivity. Bidirectional versus unidirectional data flow. Okay, we are having bidirectional or unidirectional. While bidirectional communication are generally expected, some last mile technologies offer optimization for unidirectional communication. Okay, we need to choose like which is better, bidirectional or unidirectional exactly. Then overhead for last mile communication path, IP adoption implies a layered architecture with a pre-packet overhead. Okay, that varies depending on the IP version. If you are using IPv4, which is having 20 bytes of header, okay, at a minimum, and if you are using IPv6, which has 40 bytes of like header at network layer exactly. Then data flow model. One benefit of the IP adoption model is the end-to-end nature of communication. Okay, any node can easily exchange data with any other node in a network. Okay, although security, privacy and other factor may put controls and limit on the end-to-end concepts. Okay, the data flow, it is regarding the data flow. Okay, so regarding this also we need to concentrate. Okay, then depending on the network topology and the data flow needed, both IP adoption and adaptation model have a role to play in last mile connectivity. Okay, so these were the business cases of IP exactly. Then next we go for need for optimization, why we need to go for optimization in next session. Thank you, students.